I gave myself 5 days off. 5 days of no schedule, no planning, no, I gotta get up and do this activities. I'm retired. I'm 67. This is the year 2022. Seems strange to be saying those dates since I was born in 1954. But anyway, I gave myself 5 days off where I am not engaging in my part-time work schedule with a greeting card company. And I could just not make meals, not clean house, not have a schedule or a list of things to do, because even though I have more free time per se, I'm still getting up and creating a list. I'm going to decoupage, I'm going to make bath bombs, I'm going to make some soaps today, I'm going to crochet some more headbands, I'm going to finish that knitting project, maybe I should think about quilting something. I'm always thinking of something. And although creating a list helps motivate a person, but you can find yourself that you're actually very driven by these lists. So I decided not to do that. 5 days off. Just take it easy, watch old movies, read a book, and that might be adding things onto a list of, taking time off. But in order to fully relax, it doesn't mean that you lie around and do absolutely nothing. You do have to engage in some kind of creative ability, which actually gives you more energy and helps you relax than if you had just sat down and done absolutely nothing. So here I am on my day 5, and it's supposed to be yet another full day of non-scheduled items. And I can't say I'm feeling bored, but I do miss working. So I'm actually going to go into work this afternoon and do some of the work that I've scheduled for myself. One thing I do schedule for myself every morning, and I have been remiss on a few days, but I journal every day. I'm going to share some notes from that journal regarding this whole, let's say, lack of motivation, scheduled-oriented, wanting to get things done malady that we find ourselves in. I think it was Hazel McCallum who said at age 100, she turned 100 in 2021, and she was the former mayor of Mississauga, Ontario for many years. She said something like, you've got to have a reason to get up. Have something every day to do. And I was thinking many people have reasons to get up and do. I have a lot of reasons. But what if the incentive or the motivation has changed or is just not there? What if there's no energy? Nothing to truly entice you to engage in any of your reasons for getting up. For example, I could knit, crochet, sew, decoupage, make soap, make bath bombs, clean the house. That often happens. I hate when that happens. Sort, organize, work on my book, create a story for my YouTube channel. I could paint, draw, develop a skill or talent. I could bake or cook. Mostly my husband cooks. So we can have a lot of reasons and things to entice us to get up, but still lack the motivation or energy to do. Of course, obligation and commitment are big motivators. And if people are still working a full-time job, as I was, doing full-time counseling, you have a commitment, and that, makes you stir up the discipline, and you get out there and you fulfill your commitments. Recently, I watched Seinfeld's latest comedy video, which is available on Netflix. And I was laughing along with it because he made certain comments about being 60 plus. and saying how it was a great time because, for example, you could actually say no. People ask you to do something, and you just say, no. You don't have to give a reason or explain yourself. You just say no. He is the same age as I am, or I'm the same age as he is. And he says he was reflecting on what it feels like to be 60. And I could relate to a lot of things he says. For example, he says, I don't want to change. I don't want to grow. I don't want to improve anything. I don't want to expand my interests, meet anyone, or learn anything that I don't already know. And that is so true. It's like when you reach your mid-60s and beyond, it's like, okay, what's the point? I've done that. I've been there. I've had the satisfaction of completing certain goals. So now, where's the incentive? Where's the motivation to continue on? I can say to myself, well, I've already done these things, learned new things, expanded my horizons, grown, had self-improvement goals. So what? When I was counseling, a lot of the reading I did was very technical and related to continuing to feed into that counseling skill so that it could be then a benefit for other people. So much of what I have done seems to be driven by, who can benefit from this, instead of just that sort of intrinsic value of just doing something for the sake of doing it. Sometimes it's difficult for me to stir up motivation and energy to do anything related to crafting. It seems that if there's no market, if I can't get my stuff out there and sell it or move it on, what's the point of doing it? Finding incentive and motivation for my reasons to get up and do can be difficult. Apparently, it's a 60 plus malady. It does happen. And for some of the reasons that Jerry Seinfeld mentioned, there are, so it seems, few to no burning goals for me. I remember a dream I had a long time ago about my husband. And in the dream, he was 92. And I was rubbing his back. He was depressed and didn't want to get out of bed. And I was rubbing his back saying, Stanley, there's always a reason to get up. There's always something you can do. And when I think about those words now, in many ways, I need to apply them to my own life. Personally, I'm finding it difficult to set long-term goals. I'm happy to have free time to putter about, to craft and make things. People, when they retire, they often use the time to travel. Well, that's out due to COVID. Thank you very much. So there's a lot of life restrictions on. And right now we're in another restriction in Ontario. This is January, the new year. And yeah, let's take it by sitting back, right? No, I don't want to do that. My YouTube channel and self-publishing my book are long-term goals, but I think I procrastinate on those things because I don't really believe they will be successful. So maybe I need to work on that mindset. See, again, it's a schedule-oriented, like organized, let's put it on the list and do it thing. I'm so driven that way, and I can give into that. I seem to have trouble doing things just for the sake of doing them. For example, decoupaging a farmhouse sign, which I just completed. In the last couple of days. Okay, yeah, I was supposed to be 5 days off, but my way of relaxing was to actually do this decoupage sign. It's funny when you give yourself permission not to do something, then you can end up doing it, which is kind of a neat phenomenon of life. In the process of relaxing and trying to have 5 days off, and then I end up doing a decoupage wood sign, farmhouse sign, I said to myself, well, maybe you could just do things for the sake of doing it, just to develop the skill. So I'm looking for incentives and reasons to get up and do things. So I started thinking about that term, doing something for the sake of doing it. Collins Dictionary says if you do something for the sake of something, you do it for that purpose or in order to achieve that result. So I can continue making farmhouse signs, wood decoupage on the signs, just for the sake of it. It seems like an odd concept to me because I am such a self-motivated, driven kind of person. I say driven in a positive sense, not in that in that I'm driven towards a stress-related syndrome. So I think in truth there's a skill being developed, a level of satisfaction that occurs, a sense of achievement that's happening no matter what you think your end result is. If you're doing something just for the sake of it, you're doing it for the ability to develop a skill, or you're actually going to be able to donate or sell it somewhere. There's a lot of stirring up of the chemistry in your own system. One of the chemicals is called endorphins, and it's very much like morphine. You get a sense of well-being from it. So doing something just for the sake of doing it, like for yourself, without the end goal of marketing, selling, or seeing how it's going to benefit somebody, is it's actually a goal. Oh dear. We're trying to achieve a non-goal, free-flowing sort of few days, and it's really not happening for me. But that's okay, because what is happening is some of my natural abilities are just sort of flowing out and coming on. But I'm sharing this because there's a lot of people that do have trouble with motivation and incentive. And if you're 60 plus, you may also be going through the developmental stage of like, okay, I've done all these things now. Where's the real incentive? Where's the value? What interests me? What's the point of any of this? And maybe you're struggling with some of that. And it was good for me to watch that Jerry Seinfeld comedy routine that he did in New York, because I realized that I'm in a big boat of 60 plus people and we're all dealing with the same thing. So I would suggest that you do something creative for the sake of it and see how that goes for you. I don't even know where this YouTube channel is going to go, but if you want to stick around, it may actually develop into something. But I do have a goal with it. There's a focus. Let's say there's a focus. And that's finding ways to be creative, finding the benefits and the value of being creative, and seeing how it makes you feel. What does it actually do? So it's kind of a discovery thing. As a counselor, I can say, oh yeah, I know all this stuff. I know all the benefits. I can read all the notes. But when you actually go through it and experience it for yourself and take your own notes, it adds that whole value to discovering who you are. So discovering your creative self is also about discovering you and learning to be comfortable with that, to operate within that parameter of self. And I think it could give you, in the long run, a lot of personal freedom. So stick around. You might find something that speaks to your heart in some way. Talk to you later. Bye.